Joe from Premier Props. Today we're going to be working on making a two-part mold. So basically what I'm going to be working with today is this guy right here. It's a DH17. Now some of the first things I look for when I'm making a mold is where am I going to pour in the resin once it's done. On this guy I've decided I'm basically going to pour it from the tip down and then make a couple of air vents on areas where air pockets will trap. That way we'll fill it up from the bottom all the way up to the top. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to actually clay off half of this. So we're actually going to clay off the bottom half, then be able to pour in the top part of the silicone. Then I'll peel off the clay, flip it, and pour the second half of the silicone to finish off the mold. And here we go. Okay, so here we have our gun and now we're ready to start claying it up. Now I like to use Monster Clay. Monster Clay is really unique because you can actually microwave it and turn it liquid, which makes the claying process a heck of a lot easier. So the first thing I want to do is need to figure out how I want to position this guy. And I like to use foam core board. It's easy, it's cheap, and you can make your mold box pretty easily with it. So I'm thinking that I want to kind of pour it. So it'll come down through the tip, fill up, fill up, fill up, and then have vents going to the peaks here up to the top. So I want to kind of angle it a little bit like that. And now for my walls, again, I like to use foam core board. It's really easy. And a nice cool trick is, as you're kind of setting it up, you can just score half of it to be able to bend it around to save yourself some time and silicone. So I'm going to go down about like this, and then see I'm going to pour from the top, so I want a flat bottom so it'll stand up nice on its own. So something kind of like that. And then I'm just going to take my blade and score it from the outside. And I want to score it from the outside so that when it bends, the nice solid part will still be on the inside. So then I can kind of think about where I want it. And I'm going to actually make this whole corner square just to make it a little easier to pour. Now I could make it a little bit more intricate if I wanted to save a little bit of silicone, but I plan on making a lot of these, so a nice big solid mold will be nice for it. So I'm going to go something kind of like that. And then I'm going to score it again, right about here. And just do a nice light cut across it. You don't want to cut all the way through it. And then get that nice break there. And I think that'll work pretty good. And then I'm going to use another piece to kind of finish off the box here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taping it up. And duct tape is your friend. I love duct tape. You can use it for everything. So I'm just going to take a piece of duct tape. And place it down here on this first part. Now you can use hot glue, you can use all kinds of stuff. I like duct tape because I burned myself too many times with hot glue. So I'm just going to kind of fit this where I want it, make sure I'm in the right spot, which I'm not right now. I want it right about there to there. That looks good. I'm just going to tape this down good. Now what I do is I just kind of slice the corners. And that'll actually help me to keep those corners nice and straight and tight. And then one other thing I want to consider before I go too much further is this has a little bit of a rock to it. So I actually want to steady that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of clay. And I have some extra clay right here. I'm basically just going to kind of break off a piece. It's a little cold in my garage today, so this is a little bit harder. There we go. I'm just going to knead this down a little bit. Monster clay helps if you warm it up a little bit. So once it starts getting warm, it'll be a little bit more malleable. Here's my big word for the day. I basically just want a couple small parts just to kind of hold up that scope to make it level when I'm pouring my clay. So I kind of push that down. Doesn't take much because I'm going to be pouring in a lot more clay once I get everything set up. I just want a couple pieces in here just to make sure it stays where I want it to. Look at it to make sure everything looks level. And that looks pretty good. So now I can kind of finish molding up my, or taping up my box. I'm just going to kind of rotate it around here a little bit. Try to keep it in frame for everybody. And then I'm just going to keep on taping. Basically, I just fold it in half. And then once I get that where I want it, I just place that half. And then tape it up to the box. This will give you a nice tight seal so you won't have any leakage. The clay doesn't leak as much as the silicone because the clay is obviously more viscous. Or less viscous. There we go. You see, I'm just kind of working my way around. See, this part I can start to angle some to save on my silicone. What you want to use as little silicone as possible. And if you've made molds before, you know that silicone can get expensive. Now, all the products I use I get from Reynolds Advanced Materials. I love Smooth On products. They've been working awesome for me. And see how now we're starting to get a nice little clay box going here. I got another piece, so I can continue on. So this piece I'm going to do at an angle. Not that much of an angle. About like that. So I want to score it about here. And then I'm going to cut this tape down so I can get a nice fit here. So I just cut it, lay it down flat. That way I can actually fit this piece where I want it to be. About like that. That should work about perfect. And now I can go ahead and just cut this piece because I know where it's going to end. Helps to always have a nice sharp blade on hand. And bingo! Yay! Starting to build up a nice little box right here. this guy to be in here, and I need to cut that down a little bit. It's getting in my way. There we go. Now I'll be able to fit this guy in there. Him to be right up against this guy. And then this, oopsie, and it's stuck again on me. Come on, get off there. Need to tweak you a little bit. There we go. That's where I want it. There we go. And then just keep on working my way around. And do my cool little cap here. Remember, you must make sound effects while you work or you'll go nuts. There we go. And then those areas that are not connected, I'm just going to throw another piece of tape going up to keep them nice and sealed. So I usually do one going up the sides. And then I also am going to do just a little bitty piece on the corners of where those connectors are, just to make sure I don't get any leakage. Like I said, for the first part, the bottom half is going to be clay anyways, so you're probably not going to have that much leakage. But once we pour the second half, it'll be silicone on silicone, and you want to make sure everything's sealed up really nice and tight for that. So there we go. We have our box. Yay! So now I'm going to go ahead and nuke up some Monster Clay, and I will be right back. So now I'm getting ready to actually pour my clay. Now, you also want to make sure it's not too hot, because remember, this is plastic I'm pouring into. It's a